Hare Krishna. So today, being Saturday in India, it's appearance day of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So appearance day means birthday, like we know of in in our English calendar days. But actually, for a personality like Bhakti Vinod Thakur or exalted Vaishnavas, and appearance is also kept for the Supreme Lord. So they don't have birthdays; they appear to to do their specific purpose. For the specific purpose they have appeared, so they just appear and do the work, and then they disappear. So disappear means not the death. Well, in material terms we call it death, but for a Vaishnav of that caliber or for the Supreme Lord, there is no disappearance. There is no death. They just disappear from our view, and they go back to participate in Lord's pastimes. So that's why in Sanskrit it's called Avirbhav and Tirobhav, not Janmar Mrityu. So that's the difference. So we will discuss a few points about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, although it is, if you read his life history, it's amazing how much work he did. We'll discuss few points. So today is our Bhagavad Gita day. So 7th chapter, entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. And we'll start, I believe, from verse number 4 onwards, if I'm not wrong. I don't remember actually, it's been quite some time. Anyway, we'll start from 4th verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiv Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtiprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, text number 4 onwards. Now Krishna further says about himself. Bhumirapo analo vayu kammano buddhirev cha ahangariti amme bhinna prakritirashtadha. So he says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So everything comes from Krishna. Everything is his energy. Energy means it's his property. None of these things are created by any of us or any of the, even demigods, they don't create all this. Even Brahmaji doesn't create earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. He doesn't create that. Like when we study in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 2 kinds of creation, Sarga and Visarga. So Sarga is a primary creation, Visarga means secondary creation. So primary creation is done by Krishna. So Brahmaji does the secondary creation, means he puts, by the intelligence given to him by Krishna, he puts everything together to create different species of life. So that's all he does in a given universe. Because all these energies, originally they come from Krishna. Nobody else can make earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord, in his different Purusha incarnations, expansions, as described in the Narad Pancharatra, one of the Sattvat Tantras. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates a total material energy, known as the Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Kshirodaksha Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. So Krishna, or Krishna's expansion of expansion of expansion, the Mahavishnu, he takes care of the creation part. So means originally all these energies belong to Krishna, but he has assigned as expansion of himself. Mahavishnu is the one who takes care of this creation part. So he creates a total material energy known as the Mahat Tattva. Mahat means big, big Tattva, the category. This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the cause, the controller, and the enjoyer of the material energy. Like yesterday, also, we were studying the same thing, same philosophy was going on when Yudhishthira Maharaj was going to leave the kingdom and go and take sannyas. According to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the words under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. So why separated? Because these are material. And this is material energy. So they are separated from Krishna. Even the Brahm Jyoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalist, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. There are no spiritual diversities in the Brahm Jyoti as there are in the Vaikuntha Lokas, and the impersonalist accepts this Brahm Jyoti as the ultimate eternal goal. The Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all-pervasive aspect of the Kshirodaksha Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. So in the spiritual world, there is no manifestation of Paramatma feature. Why? Paramatma or Super Soul is in the material world, in the heart of every living entity, to reside with the Jivatma and to act as a witness, as a sanctioner. So that's what he does. And also in the material world, he is in each and every atom. In fact, also within the space between two atoms, he is there. But in the spiritual world, no such need is there because every atom is conscious on his own and he can perform his functions. And every living entity or any living entity there, first of all, the body is made of Sat Chit and Ananda, just like the soul inside the body, it is made of Sat Chit and Ananda. But in the spiritual world, the whole body is made of Sat Chit and Ananda. So there is no separation between body and soul in the spiritual world. So there is no place for Paramatma to sit in. But what is Paramatma going to do? Sanction and witness. So there everything is for Krishna's pleasure, nothing for us, nothing for a person's own pleasure. So there's no need of Paramatma feature of Lord. So that's why Paramatma manifestation is only in the material world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. He is the complete energetic person and he possesses different separated and internal energies. In the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8, as above mentioned. Out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations or the gross creations, within which the 5 sense objects are included. They are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material sense comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other three items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists because they cannot even comprehend those things. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna. The false ego, I am, and its mind, which constitute the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahatattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord are manifest 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. So, from 8, so these are the 8 plus 5 sense objects, 5 gross senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So this is how when we add up in 3 material modes of nature, if we add up, it all becomes 24. But at the same time, Lord Kapil Dev, who's the original propounder of Sankhya philosophy, he gives, I think, 26 or 28 elements. So he adds 2 more, 2 or 4 more. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and were separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna, as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna clearly says, in the material world, whatever you see actually comes from me. He clearly says that. He is the source of everything. Even later on, he will say, Aham sarvasya prabhava. Everything comes from me. So here he is starting to speak about himself, saying that at least the physically whatever we see and mentally whatever we can comprehend of, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Ether means sky. And then mind, intelligence, false ego. So mind, intelligence, false ego are subtle energies, and the rest 5 are gross energies. But these are all his 8 separated energies. Nothing that we create. So our body, and in fact, everything that we see in this material world is made of these elements only. 24, or even if you go with this shloka, 8 elements only. That's it. And all these 8 come from Krishna. In fact, next shloka, when we study, we will see Krishna says, even the soul that is trying to lord over these 8 elements, that also my part and parcel. So what exactly belongs to us? Nothing. Nothing of this material world, actually. Only thing a jiva, a living entity has, this only thing is very minute, very little independence to desire. That's all. He desires, and if he deserves it, Krishna will provide it to him. Hare Krishna Gitu Mataji, how are you doing? So whatever he desires, if he deserves it, suppose I can desire maybe a very expensive car, and my bank balance I can only afford Maruti car. So Krishna will give me Maruti. As Paramatma, he will only sanction Maruti car. There is no that you can take a loan and pay EMIs and then drive a very expensive car. There's no such thing. So this is the only independence we have, and this is the only thing that we can have. Rest everything belongs to Krishna. Just like I have given this example many times. Suppose in Delhi we buy a plot. Of course, there's no plots available, but suppose We bought a 300-yard plot, and we want to make a house on that. And we hire a contractor, and we buy all the things for him, like bricks, cement, sand, iron, granite, wood, and we give him everything to ask him to build the house for us. So he builds a nice house. And after building the house, if the contractor says, "Oh, I built this house, so this house belongs to me." So who does the house belong to? The person who builds it, or person who gives all the ingredients for the house? So normally the person who gave all the ingredients for the contractor to build the house. Contractor is just a hired person to build the house. So similarly, all these 8 elements by which our body is made up, formed, our parents somehow or other, they don't even know how it works. Somehow or other, our parents create this baby inside the womb of a mother. The father creates a baby in the womb of the mother, somehow. And then the baby comes out. The baby comes out, it's a soul in a body, and the body is made of these 8 elements. So actually the body belongs to whom? The parents, the society, or the Lord himself who gave all the ingredients? It actually belongs to Krishna because it's his energy, it's his property. All ingredients are coming from him. So the property belongs to Krishna, so it should be used in the service of Krishna. So if we don't use, just like in 3rd chapter, we read that every work has been done for the satisfaction of the Supreme, for yajna. And if we don't do it, then we are called thieves. If we just cook something for our enjoyment or anything that we use it in our service, we are actually called thieves. And the thief has a punishment. So anything that we see in the material world, actually it belongs to Krishna. Since we are trying to control over it, trying to be a proprietor of it, trying to be an enjoyer of it, we are considered as thieves. Now it's actually mercy of Krishna. Like in Hindi they say, na, Bhagwan ke ghar der hai andher nahi. Actually there is no there is no delay, and there is no andher. It's all mercy. That when we break the law, he doesn't just send Yamraj and his soldiers to capture us, to put us behind bars. Because we've been breaking the laws, we've been stealing his property for so many lifetimes. So he doesn't send the soldier, he doesn't send the policeman right away. He still gives us a chance. Okay, you did it, fine. Now don't do it. Rectify yourself. Rectify yourself. Throughout our life, he gives us chance to rectify ourselves, to purify ourselves. Because we are not just some ordinary thieves. We are his sons also, sons and daughters also. So he loves us. Loves us means everybody in this material world. Everybody comes from him, so we all are related to him, we all belong to him. And still, if we break the law, he doesn't punish us right away. He gives us a chance. It's at the time of death, that is when Yamaraji comes and takes over. Yamaraji punishes us. Krishna doesn't. Krishna still tries to protect. Krishna still tries to help us. So that's his mercy. We are stealing from him every day, every second of every hour of every day. We are stealing from him. Stealing means we are not using his energy in his service. So that is stealing. But still, He's so merciful. He still gives us the chance. And like next verse, I said, text 5. Aparyam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So this is what we have been doing. We are exploiting the resources of this material nature. And very happily we are exploiting actually. And very boldly we are exploiting. On top of it, there are people who say there is no God. They are using his energy, they're misusing or abusing his energies. And on top of it, they have the audacity to say there is no God. Nobody made this whole creation. It just came on its own. There is no controller behind it. And they have the audacity to say that. It's just like living in a country like India or America and then saying, oh, there is no government, there is no prime minister, there is no president. It's just happening, everything is happening on its own. Is it possible? No. If you even come down further, if kids at home, they say, oh, there is no father, oh, everything is just, fans are working on their own, bills are being paid on their own, food is coming to the house on its own, we are getting the clothes, we are getting the education on its own, energy is providing. There is no father who's doing all this. There is no mother who's taking care of it. So how would we feel? We'll feel bad. So similarly, Krishna, there are, I would say 99% of the population there is no form of the Lord. He's Nirakar. If somebody comes to our house, oh, there is no form of Father, he is Nirakar. Arey, Father is sitting right here. He's providing for everything. And still Krishna, it's his mercy, he still provides, he still maintains everybody. So Purport Prabhupada says, here it is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Both forms of material nature, namely gross, earth, etc., and subtle, mind, etc., are products of the inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. And it's due to this energy that the entire material world functions. Actually, without the presence of the soul in anything, there cannot be any activity. And in fact, if you go further in Bhagavatam, it is said, even the soul is there, the super soul is not there. Super soul is a source of all the energy, all the movements. Without the super soul, nothing can move actually. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy, the living entity. Energies are always controlled by the energetic, and therefore the living entities are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. So we are also energy, we are superior energy, and the material energy that we see is inferior energy. But still, superior or inferior energy cannot act on its own. They have no independent existence except being always controlled by the Lord as Paramatma. They are never equally powerful as unintelligent men think. The distinction between the living entities and the Lord is described in the Bhagavatam as follows. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all-pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as the minute energies of your Lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and living entities are equal in all respects are actually guided by faulty and polluted opinions. This is from Bhagavatam. So we are energy of Krishna. We are not equal to him. We cannot be equal to him. Energy cannot be equal to energetic. We are just minute part and parcel of Krishna. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller and all living entities are controlled by him. Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. Paramaji says that. Param Ishwar. Ishwar means controller. We all are controllers to a certain extent. But Krishna is the Param Ishvara, Param controller, supreme controller. These living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme. But they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains a stage called mukti or liberation. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks, I am matter and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms a living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna, and when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated. So this is what we have to do. We have to free ourselves from material contamination. Means understanding this body is what? Made of just 8 material elements. That's it. And if you go further, the whole material universe is made of only 24, or depending upon which Sankhya philosophy you follow, 24, 26, or 28 elements. That's it. Nothing else. The spirit soul is somehow encaged in this material body because of our desires and previous karmas. We are trying to enjoy the material body and the material products all over the universe. This is in nutshell, this is the essence of this shloka. We are trying to exploit, trying to enjoy. First of all, we cannot enjoy because we are not the Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer. We are only part and parcel of Krishna. So we are only part and parcel of Purusha. So we have only part, very infinitesimal enjoying capabilities. So we can enjoy even very infinitesimally, even if we are allowed to. Even for that enjoyment, we need the sanction of Paramatma. And just by having that infinitesimal capability of enjoying, and on that we get the sanction of Paramatma to enjoy or control. And even in that, that too we can enjoy only momentarily, transitory, it's not permanent enjoyment we can have. Even to have that, we work so hard and then we are very happy. Oh, I enjoyed it. In fact, that happiness does not last for more than little time. It's very limited and very transient, very temporary. So for that, people or living entities have been working so hard. That is Maya, actually. We've been working hard. Like I've seen in India, when I was there, like people work 10, 12, 14 hours. And to go to job 2 hours, come back from job 2 hours, and work like a donkey. To get what? Some flickering, temporary, little bitty happiness. And actually, we don't even get happiness. We are just content that, oh, I have such a big bank balance. I have a beautiful house. I have a nice car. I have a wonderful family. But actually, what are we enjoying? We're never there to enjoy the house or the car or be with the family. We're never there because we're always working to pay for everything else. Well, it just gives some satisfaction to the heart. Okay, I did something for my family. But same energy, or even less than that energy, if we use it in service of Krishna and in pleasing Krishna, we will get unlimited amount of happiness. Brahm Sokyam Tva Anantam, Bhagavatam says. Brahm Sokyam means the spiritual happiness. And Tva Anantam, it is unlimited, eternal happiness. That's what we'll receive. That doesn't mean we don't perform our duties properly. We should. Materially also, whatever duties we have, we should perform. But at the same time, we have a higher duty to perform, which is to please Krishna, which is to make ourselves progress spiritually. That is even a higher duty. We should, and we should all do that properly, all these duties. Then we will be really happy. So, talking about the duties, today is Thakur Bhakti Vinod's appearance day. So, he appeared in the year 1838 in Bengal. Although he appeared in a very wealthy family, but somehow by the fate's turn, very young age, his father died, and somehow he was brought up in different homes. I think by his Nanaji also. So, but he was very intelligent boy, and slowly he took up. He studied nicely, and he took up a job as a teacher. And later on, he was so intelligent. He became the High Court judge under the British government. And that too, High Court judge. Then later he was posted in Jagannath Puri. So he fixed lots of practices at Lord Jagannath's temple in Puri. And like one time, one king of Puri, like we have king every time of Puri, he was mismanaging some of the funds of Lord Jagannath. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur stopped him. And of course, that king of Puri, he got angry with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he sent some things, maybe some poison to Bhaktivinoda Thakur to kill him. But instead, Jagannathji made so arrangement that one of the family members of the king of Puri died. So then King of Puri understood Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not an ordinary person. In fact, when the Rath Yatra goes from Shri Mandir, main temple, to Gundicha temple, it's on the Grand Road. Right now, where the Gaudiya Math is, that used to be the house of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Rath, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a High Court judge in Puri, and he was in charge of the temple of Jagannath Puri. So every year the Rath would stop in front of his house and then go further. So when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, actually he was born in Jagannath Puri, and he was only 6 months old when the Rath Yatra happened. So Rath came, and as I said, Rath would stop in front of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. So and it just Jagannathji just stopped there. He didn't move further. So probably 1 day or 2 days, he just stood there. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife, she brought little Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose name was Bimla Prasad at that time. So he brought him on the chariot, and she placed the boy at the lotus feet of Jagannath, and Jagannath's garland fell on the boy. So seeing that, all the pujaris understood that this boy is very special. He's not an ordinary boy, and he'll do great things in the future. And obviously he did great things. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so that was his position. He was a high court judge under British government. And later on, he asked for transfer from that place, and somehow he was transferred to Navdvip. And he was living in his house. So from that house, the court was far away. And so British government laid a whole railway track to his house. And every day a train, of course only one bogie train, engine and one bogie, would come to pick up Bhaktivinoda Thakur from his house to court. That's how much he was respected even by British government. So few years back, because that house is still there in Navdvip, and we go to that house whenever we go to Mayapur. So till few years back, those railway tracks were still there, but thanks to the government of West Bengal, they don't appreciate, they don't respect this heritage, old heritage things. So they have removed the tracks now. Although train wasn't running on those tracks, but the tracks were, because they were laid by British in honor of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the government should have left them alone. It was a historical piece. But anyway, they removed those tracks. So that's how much he was respected by the British government. And in fact, if we look at his daily schedule, what he used to do, how his life was so much scheduled, so much system was there. He would, in the evening, or let's go start from the morning. 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. he would chant his japa. 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. he would take care of correspondence. Whatever letter had come and he had to reply back, so he would take care of that. 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. study of Shastras, study scriptures. 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. bath, prasad, and every morning he will take half liter of milk, fruit, and 2 chapatis. That's it. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. he would take care of his court duties in the court. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. refresh at home. He would come home, take his lunch and take some rest. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. again back to the court duties. 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. he would come back home, translate Sanskrit Shastras to Bengali. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. bathe, prasadam, again the same prasadam, half liter milk and 2 chapatis, and he would take, at night he would take some rice. 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. he would take rest and again get up at 10 p.m. Can you imagine? 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. he would write. He would write different scriptures. It is said he has written about 100 books in his lifetime. See how fixed his schedule was. So overall summary was sleep for 3 hours, write for 8.5 hours, japa and study, his personal sadhana, 4.5 hours, work 6 hours. So this is how he would spend each and every day of his life. When he was a High Court judge at Puri, between Puri and Bhubaneswar, there is a village. I'm forgetting the name of that village. In that village, there was a tantric yogi had come. His name was Bhishakishan. And what he was doing, because he had those powers, yogic powers, so he was enticing lots of village women. And in name of Krishna's Srila, he was having relationship with all these women. So the complaint came to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And actually this Bishkeshan, because he had some yogic powers and he was threatening the British government. He was a big threat to them. So they made a plot and sent Bhaktivinoda Thakur to investigate the matter. Bhaktivinoda Thakur came there with so many policemen, and he told Bishakeshan, "You're nobody. You're just some tantric yogi." And Bishkeshan had rumor. I mean, his followers had spread the rumors that he is Lord Vishnu himself, because he had the yogic powers, and people don't understand. Yogic powers doesn't mean you are Lord Vishnu. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur tried to talk some sense into him, but he wouldn't listen. So finally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered policemen to arrest him. Bishakeshan, he challenged everybody, and policemen were also afraid of arresting him. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, "Don't worry, you arrest him, I'll take care of everything." But they were afraid of, first of all, the yogic powers of this Bishkeshan, and secondly, the number of followers that he had. But anyway, he was arrested. He was brought to Puri for the for the uh, for the case to go on, for the trial to start. And during the trial period, he was kept in the prison. And and in the prison also, the trial went on for quite some time. And in the prison, he would not eat anything or drink anything. He was a real yogi. He had lots of yogic powers. And the common people, they were astonished, seeing that he's not eating anything, he's not drinking anything. So they were astonished, and they started to believe that he's God himself. So final day of the trial, and in fact, Bishkeshan used to tell Bhaktivinoda Thakur that if you don't release me, I'll destroy your family. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur had, I think, about 12 kids. So one or the other kid would always be sick, because this Bishkeshan had some yogic powers, and he could throw those yogic powers, and by his influence, kids were getting sick. So wife of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, she would really petition to him that please don't let go of this guy, and I don't want to lose any of my kids, this and that. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur would pacify her and tell her, "Do not worry, I'll take care of everything." In fact, the day of when Bishkeshan was supposed to be tried, or the judgment was supposed to be pronounced, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself got sick. He was so sick he could not move. So this men had to come, and they put Bhaktivinoda Thakur in palanquin, and they carried him to the court. And when they carried him to the court, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sat down on his chair, and he was listening to the final arguments. He gave his judgment, and he gave imprisonment to this guy, Bishkeshan. But when Bishkeshan was being taken to the jail, there was a European policeman, and he had heard that all these yogis, all these tantric power yogis, they keep their shakti, their strength, energy in the shikha, which they had tied up. So he jumped behind this man, Bishkeshan, this European officer, with the scissor in his hand, and he just cut off his shikha. And actually, Bishkeshan, for so many days, he hadn't eaten anything because of yogic powers. But when his shikha was gone, his yogic powers just vanished all of a sudden. And he fell down on the ground, and because he hadn't eaten for so many days, he fell down and he died right there on the ground. And this way, although Bhishkeshan had large number of followers who were right outside the court, waiting for any judgment to be given, and when they heard that, they were getting angry. But then they heard that Bhishkeshan has died, so they all went home. They said, "Forget it." They all went home. So this was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's full faith in the scriptures, in the holy name, in Krishna, that he was able to arrest Bhishkeshan and put him on trial also. So after Bhishkeshan died, then there were no more mishaps happening at Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. Nobody was getting sick, so everything stopped. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, this is how powerful he was. So after his retirement, he decided to build a temple for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his birthplace. So he went to Navdeep, he got old maps to look for where the birthplace was, because there was no marking anywhere. So reading those maps, he understood that on the west side of Ganges, there cannot be the birthplace. It has to be on the east side, because this is what the scriptures say. So he was roaming around trying to find out where Mahaprabhu appeared, because he wanted to build a big temple there. And it was all paddy fields everywhere. So one place he came by, and there were lots of tulsi was growing at that place. Lots of tulsi. And that paddy field belonged to a Muslim guy, actually. And then he saw a mound of ants. So he thought to himself, it is quite possible that this is the place where Mahaprabhu had appeared. So he called Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who was very old, and he was a Shiksha Guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he was so old he could not even walk properly. So his servant had to always carry him in a basket on his head. And Jagannath Babaji Maharaj, at that time, he was 100 plus years old. He could hardly open his eyelids. He had to really hold his eyelids to open them up and to see anything further. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he came to that place, and he told his servant to to take me to that place. So the servant was carrying Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj in the basket, and when they reached that place, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, although he's 100 plus years old, he jumped from that basket on the ground, and he started jumping up and down and doing kirtan and saying, "This is the place of appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." So Bhaktivinoda Thakur later constructed a big temple there. The temple is still there, a beautiful temple. And for that temple, to build the temple, although he was a retired high court judge, he was going door to door in Calcutta begging them for 1 rupee. He would say, "Just give me 1 rupee each to build the temple." And that's how he built that temple. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, at that time, it was only few decades, or not decades, few centuries after Mahaprabhu had left. Like Mahaprabhu left in 1524, year 1524. Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared in 1838, so only 300 years. But the Vaishnava philosophy, Vaishnava knowledge, the teachings of Mahaprabhu, they were all gone. They were all lost by that time. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is given the credit of re-establishing teachings of Mahaprabhu, the real teaching, the genuine philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He re-established that. In fact, for him to get a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it took him 9 years, because it wasn't available in the market, and people who had it, they won't share it with anybody, because they knew if they share, they will not get it back. So it took him 9 years to get a copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had predicted three things. Actually, as I said, he wrote about 100 books. So in 1896, yeah, he sent a book to, he wrote a book, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his life and precepts, and he sent it to various universities all over the world. And Srila Prabhupada used to say that I was very fortunate that I was born in that year when Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent the books all the universities all over the world. So means the original book distributor was Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And later Srila Prabhupada got so much of inspiration from this that he engaged his disciples in doing mass scale book distribution. Bhaktivinoda Thakur had given three predictions, and they all came true actually. His first prediction was a Senapati Bhakta or a close associate, confidential associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come and he would preach the message of Mahaprabhu all over the world. His second prediction was, or in the form of a question, but that was a prediction. He was saying, when will that day come when people in America, Russia, France, Germany, they would raise their hands and do Harinam on the streets in their countries? And third prediction was, when will that day come when people from America, France, Germany, Russia, they would come to Navadvip and to celebrate Mahaprabhu's appearance, and by raising their hand they would join in Kirtan saying Jai Sachinandan Gaur Hari. Actually, all these three predictions were fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada. In fact, in 1986, there were devotees from all over the world who came to Navadvip, to Mayapur, and they really had great kirtans all over Navadvip, and that really fulfilled the desire of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Of course, he had another desire. When will that day come when a high court judge will go to the court with Vaishnav Tilak on? So these days we see many devotees are Radhakrishnan Prabhu is very prominent among these, we can say. He goes to the office with Tilak on, Vaishnav Tilak. And so many devotees are following him. In fact, in Ludhiana, I know a very, very senior advocate in High Court, or in Ludhiana Court, and he's an initiated devotee, and he goes with Tilak on always. And he has his bead bag always around his neck. Even when he is arguing in the court, he has the bead bag. And whenever he finds free time, he chants. So all these predictions of Bhaktivinoda Thakur are slowly coming true. In fact, he only, from his house in Navadvip, it is right across the Ganges from ISKCON temple. He would, from his house, he would look towards ISKCON temple where it is right now, and he would see a source of bright light in that direction. And in that house, who all would assemble? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and Jagannath Das Babaji. All the four stalwart acharyas of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they would sit in that house, they would discuss, they would meet over there. And they one day they all saw this brilliant light coming from this area where ISKCON temple is right now. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur had predicted another thing, that very soon there will be a Adbhut Mandir, there will be an extraordinary temple at this place to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that prediction was also fulfilled by Srila Prabhupada and Prabhupada's followers actually. Now they are taken up the building of that temple very seriously. So, but it was all laid out by Srila Prabhupada, that this is the way you're going to do it. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and today is his appearance day, and we should pray to him that he please keep us engaged in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please keep us engaged in the preaching work. Because Prabhupada always gave credit to Bhaktivinoda Thakur for establishing the preaching work. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the one who established Namahatta program. In the shop of the holy name. So he had established how congregation should be developed, how every house or every few houses there should be house programs where congregation should come and congregate and learn about the teachings of Mahaprabhu and other scriptures. So this is how his idea was to develop congregation and give them the right philosophy. So Prabhupada always gave credit to Bhaktivinoda Thakur for book distribution, for congregation preaching, and for reviving the whole Gaudiya Vaishnavism philosophy, which was completely lost before him. So today's appearance day of such a stalwart Acharya, such a wonderful Acharya in our life, in our Guru Parampara. And actually his Swarupa in Golok Vrindavan is of Kamal Manjari. So he is a Manjari form in Golok Vrindavan, assisting Radharani and other gopis in service of Krishna. But she came here as Bhaktivinoda Thakur to establish Vaishnavism. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments. Subhu Prabhu, would you like to enlighten us?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks for the lovely story. Very interestingly narrated. Thanks so much.
I tried. So today we also have, yes, let me just, today we also have Gitu Mataji. She joined us from Lajpat Nagar. Long time associate in the Bhagavad Gita classes, but now joining us from her home. So welcome to classes, Mataji. We'll put you on the WhatsApp group also, so you will get all the notifications. You are muted. Let me unmute you first. Yes, Mata, you were saying something. Where is unmute? Yeah. Oh, she got muted again.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Only
Krishna.
need your attention. Thank you so much adding me to this WhatsApp group. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mata. Yes, Shitish Prabhu, you had a question or a comment?
Yes, Prabhuji, Thakur Bhakti Vinod temple is in Shantipur.
No, that is Advaita Acharya's temple.
Okay.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that house is in, I'm forgetting the name of that place. It is right across Ganges from our temple. And his samadhi, one samadhi is, oh, let me mute everybody. His one samadhi is in Yog Pitha, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's temple is there. And his other Pushpa Samadhi is at Radha Kund, where he built his house, Swananda Sukhada Kunj. So his Pushpa Samadhi is there, and one Samadhi is in Yog Pit, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's temple is there. So when we go to Mayapur, we take darshan of those two places, and when we go to do Parikrama of Govardhan at Radha Kund, so we can take darshan over there.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Any other question or comment? So I guess we can stop here. So tomorrow, because Sunday is Haridas Thakur's disappearance day, so we'll have some Bhagavad Gita verses, and then I'll also like to speak on Haridas Thakur's disappearance day. So tomorrow's class will be on that mainly. Hare Krishna. You all have a wonderful day. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.